Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. Today, we're just hanging out on the back porch. I just wanted to sit here and tell you about a dope opportunity that I had a few weeks ago. Some local guys, Kyle and Kevin, invited me over to their production studio where they have not only a Sony Venice that they own and they rent out to other productions, just a dope space in general with a bunch of grip equipment, pretty much anything you would need for a production. They also have an LED wall. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're probably familiar with the volume technology or virtual productions. Disney and Star Wars has been using this a ton for the last few years, and it's essentially the same idea. Like, you pick your image or background or location of choice, you put it up on the wall, and then you light for that and build your foreground for that to kind of make it a believable shot. You can also put the system on your camera, and then as you move your camera, the background moves with it and gives a natural parallax. That's what the big studios use, and that's what they have over there at their studio as well. We didn't end up using it because it was very much like a, hey, you want to come by the studio and check it out? And then when I was over there, we were like, hey, you want to maybe make a video next Wednesday or something? But overall, it was super dope, and I'm excited to get to kind of tell y'all how that went, the process. Before we get into it, if you want to like the video and help me out, hit like down below. So yeah, like I said, we had no idea what we were gonna make. We threw around a few different ideas, and then basically the night before, me and Kyle were like, yeah, this sounds like a pretty good idea. I'm telling y'all all that to say, once I got in there, we had about maybe 5 or 6 hours to decide on an idea, build the set, pick our background, light it, get our camera set, get our shots set up. And you would normally obviously have way more pre-production. You would know exactly what you were shooting. You would pick your background, I'm assuming, way in advance. And then you would also have a pre-light day with a G&E team. So we got in there and we decided to do a coffee shop scene. We had our two talent, Nancy and Balin, which also massive shout out to them for helping out with this. So for the foreground, we had a table, some chairs, some coffee cups. We also ended up throwing a plant in there to give another foreground element for the camera to shoot past and just sell it a little bit more. While Balin and Kyle were setting up the lights and the camera and all that kind of stuff, Kevin was setting up our background. So like I said, the LED wall runs with Unreal Engine, and there's an Unreal Engine store where people can go make environments in Unreal Engine and then put it on the store for you to buy and then use in your virtual productions or just your normal, I don't know, what other people do in Unreal Engines, build video games, make CG commercials or films. So we ended up grabbing a $25 coffee shop / diner interior, throwing it up, and Kevin started trying to figure out and situate the perspective and the size and everything to kind of match with our scene. We were trying to match the size of the tables in the background to our table, and that kind of seems like the name of the game with the LED wall, is just spending time making it believable. That main setup part probably took about 2 hours, just tweaking and figuring it out. In the meantime, Kyle and I are over there talking about, what's our shot list? And we kind of came down to, we're gonna have one establishing wide shot, and then we're gonna push in on Nancy, our main character. She's tired, she's groggy, she goes to take a sip of her coffee, and then we crash zoom into her face. The background changes into this super trippy wild world of, whoa, this coffee is just running through my freaking blood vessels right now. But the wide shot by far was the hardest to make look believable with the LED wall. When you're tight and the background is bokeh out and you're really only having to make the light look believable on a tighter frame on a face or something like that. And then again, the background is all bokeh out and blurred out, so you don't really need a ton of detail. But when you're wide, especially since we didn't have the natural parallax system set up. As we're dollying in, the background's not really moving at all. But honestly, I think the way that they set up the lighting really helps sell it, and then putting that tree in the foreground, adding some camera motion, adding some color, and we have a believable shot. And we also knew, Kyle and I talked about this as we were shooting it, like this is only gonna be on screen for maybe 4 seconds. So it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, especially in the context of what we were doing. After that, we moved into the tighter shots. Initially, my idea was to do like a crash zoom on the Dana dolly, and as we're zooming in, the background is changing, but we didn't quite have time to set up the background to change like on a cue, and that would make it really kind of more difficult than we were needing to be, or than we had time for anyway. So we ended up pivoting and hitting our crash zoom, getting a tight shot on Nancy's eyes, and then bringing in the RGB lights and the different background, and then also Balin and Kyle with some boards to blow her hair. So it's like she takes a sip of this coffee, the world explodes into color, her hair is blown back. It was really cool. It was a fun kind of amalgamation of cues that needed to all happen at the same time. So that was really fun. Hey y'all, editor Dustin here. So I'm sure you saw in the video those shots of coffee beans and coffee being poured and exploding and all of that. Those are actually from Artlist. We did not shoot those, and sadly this is not the part of the video where I'm like, today's video is sponsored by Artlist. It's not, but I was editing and I was like, man, I really wish there was a way that I could make this something more, make it more interesting visually and audibly. And I was like, oh, I do pay a significant amount of money for Artlist stock footage, and I never use it. I feel like this is an ad, but it is really good. So I jumped on there, grabbed some clips, and I think they work together really well. These coffee clips aren't even all from the same project or folder in Artlist, but I think it turned out really cool. So yes, those clips are from Artlist. Back to the video. But yeah, the shoot was super fun. So let's talk about the Sony Venice 2. I'm a big Sony guy. I'm shooting on a Sony A7S III right now. I had a Sony A7 III before, and obviously those cameras are nowhere near the level of the Sony Venice, but I find it really cool, kind of this stepladder ecosystem that Sony has. That's a lot different than something like ARRI or Red. You have something like the A7S III or the FX3 that aren't really cinema cameras, and then above that you have the FX6, now you have the Sony Burano, and then you have the Sony Venice, but they all kind of work together really well. Like they all shoot S-Log3, they all shoot S-Cinetone, and they all have a very similar feeling. They're all also very good in low light, because obviously the A7S III is phenomenal in low light with the not dual gain ISO, but it effectively works like one. The Sony Venice, it does have dual gain ISO. I think the low native ISO is 800, and then you can flip it into a native ISO of 3200, but it is incredible, and the image quality is incredible. It just looks really good. The low light capabilities make it very versatile. So yeah, super versatile. We were in a studio setting, so I didn't really get to use it like that, but I would love to. Aside from the image quality and the insane low light performance for a cinema camera like this, it can shoot up to 120 in 4K, 90 frames per second in 6K, and then I think 30 at like 8.6K. Incredible. They've shot a ton of stuff with it and the LED wall. I'm sure I'll throw up some of their work right here. The LED wall is pretty sick. I hope I have a reason to use it at some point, like a reason to rent it. Y'all, I need some water. I've been talking a lot. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm trying to do more like candid, like just kind of sit and talk with y'all about what's been going on. Tomorrow's my birthday, so like this video, I guess, to wish me a happy birthday. But yeah, y'all, thanks for watching. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you later. See ya. Bye.